On average, are autistic people particularly creative? Creativity is the ability to produce or use original or out-of-the-box ideas, whether that's in the form of a product, like a work of art or an invention, or something more intangible, like a novel insight into a particular topic. Research on autistic creativity has shown that although autistic people may be less flexible in some ways than non-autistic people in our creative pursuits, we do nevertheless exhibit an unusual orientation to detail and a high level of originality. Now, Victoria Lyons and Michael Fitzgerald back in 2013 proposed that a number of autistic features in particular favored creative pursuits, including our tendency to have narrow interests and to persist, shall we say, sometimes obsessively in those interests. We have a heightened ability to break down gestalts or the big picture into its constituent parts. We're drawn to collecting facts and have an unusual fascination with them, and we're also prone to savant-like talents. But there's another topic closely related to creativity that I want to talk about today, and that's known as the aha moment, sometimes also called the Eureka moment. An aha moment is having a sudden understanding or realization about a problem or concept that was previously missing. It may occur in the process of when you're actively trying to solve a problem, but perhaps more often, and as the name implies, a Eureka moment often happens suddenly and sometimes effortlessly, like switching on a light bulb. It may even happen when you're thinking about something else entirely, and the idea or realization just suddenly pops into your head. This light bulb moment is also often accompanied by positive feelings like a rush of enjoyment, which means it can be kind of addictive in a good way. While working through problems in a stepwise analytical fashion often involves parts of the brain necessary for executive function and working memory, sudden insights like the aha moment often occur with sudden and coordinated high-frequency brain waves in other systems of the brain, such as the temporal lobes. Now, mind you, the specific regions activated will definitely vary depending on the type of task that you're engaging in. In this month's issue of Scientific American, authors John and Yvette Cuinos, I'm sure I've just utterly mutilated their name, sorry, Cuinos, talk about the differences between analytical versus insightful problem solving. They say that everyone uses both of these methods, but individuals tend to prefer one method over another. Even more interesting, in their work they found that the brainwave activity of people during a resting state, meaning that they're not actively working on a task, is actually predictive of their problem-solving preference. People who predominantly use analytical styles of problem solving tend to have more activity towards the front of the brain during rest, while people who preferentially use insightful problem solving tend to have more activity towards the back. Interestingly, while plodding along step by step is a good way to approach analytical problem solving, sometimes for insightful problem solving to happen, you need to pause, put whatever you're working on down, and switch to something else, like taking a walk or getting some rest. Often just switching gears like that can force some of those more analytical systems in your brain to chill out, potentially allowing insight to bubble to the forefront. I often do this in my own work when I'll get the sensation I'm just trying to force something to work or an idea to come, but instead I go do something else and allow things to kind of percolate for a while. Sometimes I find it helpful to read, which can often be a really good stimulus for new ideas, and so I tend to vacillate back and forth between producing work and then just pulling back and taking in ideas through reading. The pattern is almost a little bit like breathing, but with ideas, in, out, in, and out. Now, switching back to autism and even ADHD, while there's been research into autistic and ADHD creativity, I'm not aware of any work that's explored problem-solving styles, especially with reference to those aha moments. But given how creative our populations are, and despite that many on the spectrum can be exceptionally rational, I do actually wonder if we're more prone to having insight-based problem-solving preferences. And I'm really curious about your experiences. Now, in my own work, I noticed that a lot of ideas for me just sort of come without much effort, even though I also consider myself an extremely rational person. But when it comes to creativity and idea generation, even in the scientific realm, I feel like insight-based problem solving describes me better because most stuff just kind of seems to pop into my head. So I want to know about you. What is your creative process like, regardless of whether it's in the arts, the sciences, or something else altogether? I want to hear from you. What kind of problem solving style do you think is your preference? Also, is there an area of research you'd like to see more of in autism and ADHD? Tell me in the comments. Anyways, sorry for the long wait for this next video. I'm actually in the midst of packing to move. I'm leaving my current university, which I've really loved, and moving back to my hometown. So we're really looking forward to that as well. Although I'll be very sad to miss my friends and my students that I've come to know and love here. But also looking forward to this next chapter. Also, unfortunately, this whole last week I got hit with a nasty respiratory virus, and that just kind of fried my brain and my energy and gave me horrible brain fog. So TikTok videos were not an option during that week, but I'm definitely back now. So anywho, thanks again for following me down this week's rabbit hole on autistic and ADHD creativity. Let me know your thoughts on aha moments and also what other topics you'd like me to cover in future. So until next time, take care and ciao.